Today on the podcast, we are going to be going over Monarch Season 2, Episode 6, our thoughts and our theories going over it, and what could possibly go on in Episode 7. With all that out of the way, let's get started. Welcome back, everyone, to the Titan Center podcast. I'm your host, Gabe Dunn. I'm here with my co-host,
Tom Bragg.
And like you saw in the intro, we were talking about Episode 6 of Monarch Season 2. We just previously watched it literally probably like 10, 15 minutes ago. This is fresh in our minds. So do you want to start this off? What do you think of Episode 6?
Awesome, because we got a glimpse of the Titans, if only in a dream. It reminded me of the Dream Ballet in the musical Oklahoma.
No. Okay. So I think the episode was pretty good. I think the pacing, though, we'll get into that a little bit later. But it was really cool to see that they found Lee Shaw and the original scientists back in the 50s.
Dr. Suzuki.
Yeah. It was like the 60s.
He was a contemporary of Dr. Sarazawa, by the way, who developed the oxygen destroyer.
Yeah, yes, that is true. And we finally get to meet him back in this one.
He was going to marry Sarazawa's daughter.
We see that the aftermath of Tynex on the mysterious island, and we see Hiroshi's funeral. It was sad and stuff. Not a lot of people.
Hiroshi's funeral was very touching, and something that really resonated with me was the singing bowl that the monk struck twice.
So I will say, though, that we'll get into this part a little bit later, but we go through all that, and like I just said, the original Dr. Sarazawa, like you just said, we end up meeting him.
Dr. Suzuki,
whatever the name is. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be disrespectful to our Japanese brethren.
Oh my gosh.
Don't get them confused with Kawasaki or Honda or Toyota
We end up meeting him at the funeral with Lee Shaw introducing him to Kate, Kiko, and Kintaro.
Kiko already knew him.
So, yeah. Yes, but after a huge long period of time.
Well, she stayed in his memory for all those years. She was just like he remembered her.
Reintroducing.
He was not like he remembered himself.
Okay, whatever. To continue on. So, Kintaro is still mad at everything that's going on. So, basically in this one, everyone ends up splitting up. We end up seeing in a bar scene that Kintaro ends up meeting. I don't know what her name is. I couldn't really hear too well.
Was it Isabel?
Yeah, it was Isabel, but the company that she's working for. So basically, she's offering a proposition for him to get back because it's a hard time and stuff for them right now. And like
everything's difficult. And I tell you what, I felt sorry for Dr. Suzuki because he'd lost all his hair and he had this glue-on version around his head and he had some sewn to his hat that he wore that stuck out.
No, that's actually not true. We thought about that.
Watch the episode.
And we did watch the episode.
Watch the episode and give me your feedback.
We did watch the episode and we thought that at first, but then we realized when they showed up at his house.
We thought that at first. I still think it.
Dr. Suzuki ends up inviting them all to his house, and he ends up having another machine that he built, the same one that he did back in the 60s and in the 50s as well.
He was forbidden. He was forbidden to build another machine.
But
Monarch told him pretty much they'd put him in asset management, which was essentially a prison nursing home that they had Lee Shaw in. Dr. Suzuki bent the knee and kissed the ring, and he said, "I'll never do it again, I promise." And then he went to his garden shed,
and he did it.
And he built one, a telephone to the Titans.
But yeah, so to continue on that though, this is where we end up splitting off though, because they want to, Lee Shaw and Dr. Suzuki, if I keep saying that right, they want to use that to go to the original spot where Lee Shaw was found after being in the Axis Monday for 20 years. But before we get into that, though, because that's the big kind of, like, I wouldn't say spoiler at the very end. We'll get to that later on. But like I said, everyone splits off.
Give it to me now so I'll understand.
No, Kiko and Kate end up doing their own thing because Kiko is trying to understand what the connection is with Kate and Tynex. So the last episode, we didn't make a reaction to the last one because I was just saying now, we were all super busy. Just time didn't allow it. But the last episode, we saw that she had a connection with Tynex, but we thought, what caused her to have this connection? Well, now we figured out. Ever since she released Tynex out of the Axis Monday, that's when she started having all these connections because she was the one that released the Titan into
That
Earth.
makes sense. And when I think about you as a young child establishing a connection with Godzilla at such an early age, I think you
Okay.
would be an excellent candidate to put your feet in a wash tub full of water. And if we lowered a microphone in there, you could hear a Titan singing through it. Let's try it next time for our episode. Do a live episode.
I don't think so. No. No.
What if we get somebody else to do it?
Sure, if you want to go try and do that, but
I don't have that connection.
neither do I. Neither do I to do that.
It's a deep connection.
Oh my. But so they, like I said, they all split off, and we have some flashbacks to that Lee Shaw back in this. This was in 58. This is right before the Billy, Kiko, and Lee Shaw all went to the. What was the location again? Right before she ended up in the Axis Monday.
She was in
What was the location?
Kazakhstan or one of the Russian provinces.
Yeah.
And it was a Russian nuclear power plant.
Yep, exactly.
And the
yeah.
buggies climbed up the rope and pulled her down by the feet.
But no, that's exactly what happened. So, but
I
this
never understood why they didn't devour her and she went right into the Axis Monday. I guess they fell away as she was sucked down in the downdraft. I don't know.
I can't answer that question. Too.
I bet
have no
when they
idea.
got to the bottom, she wound up killing and eating all those insects. That was the way she lasted 57 days down there.
No,
You know, a bug that size would be good for a meal for about 3 days.
I don't think so. But we're getting off track here. But the flashbacks.
No, that
like
is
I said,
the track.
No.
What would you do if you were in the Axis Monday looking for food? You would have to eat the small items, and the smallest thing there were giant insects.
She hunted the animals. We saw that. We saw that. Not the scarab. She never saw a scarab. The flashback, this was like we just said, that the incident that happened with Kiko, this was taking place a little bit right before this happened because Lee Shaw, he was meeting with Kiko and Billy, but he said that he decided to take a new position, a new job. And then we end up seeing Lee Shaw's dad for the first time in this. And then to continue on, they met with each other first time in 5 years that night before his
It was
new
an
job.
amazing portrayal by whoever played Lee Shaw's dad because he looked like he had to be kin to the Russell family. And not only that, I lost my train of thought. Let's move on.
Okay, well, so he was starting his new job the next day. He ends up being late, but he runs into his dad there. That all of a sudden he's confused because he said he's going to be late to his first meteor or to meet to his his boss or whatever you want, his general for him. But his dad takes him to breakfast as an order, kind of a little bit. But while they're at breakfast, his dad realized Lee Shaw realizes that he does not have to report to his general that he thought he had to report to. Now, I guess he has to respond to his dad and stuff now because all of a sudden he was now being sent off to Vietnam. And
he hadn't been there yet.
Well, he was supposed to, but then he realized that everything clicked and changed because we saw later on, because he was with Billy and Kiko at that site where the incident happened.
You know what put me off? His dad talked about flapjacks at breakfast. And traditionally, I've called those pancakes, and some people call them hot cakes.
What?
I would just like to know what you call them.
What? What?
Give us some feedback.
Oh,
what
my
do you
gosh.
call that item that with flour and sugar and egg and baking powder that you flip in a hot skillet or on a griddle, and then you put
Oh my!
what is it you put all over it? Maple syrup, I suppose.
Yeah, just syrup. But we saw the after breakfast though, because he was told to report to Vietnam, but he got his new office.
Did he have?
But no. He then after that he got shown his new office stuff. He ended up trashing his stuff because he's mad, and then we saw later on the flashback that he ended up going back to them, which matches up the timeline. And obviously we could tell he didn't report to Vietnam and ends up going back to working with Monarch. But now to get into the last part of it, kind of, Kentaro we do end up seeing Titan X and Godzilla in this for a span of 30 seconds, but it ends up being a stupid dream, whatever. Okay, we'll get into
it was not a stupid dream. It was a terrifying dream. It might almost qualify as what they call a night terror. And when you get over something like that, the first thing you want to do is go have some pancakes.
No, we'll get into the deep dive really into this season and what the general consensus is of what a lot of people also think as well.
Well, wait.
But no. We're going to finish this, not some stupid pancake talk. And so after this dream of whatever, seeing Godzilla and Titan X in Tokyo, Kentaro ends up waking up, hugging his mom, and then that's when he ends up going back to Hiroshi's, the gravesite, and then getting in contact with Isabel, and he wants him to show him the proposition that she gave him inside the bar.
That was a very interesting internment they did with Kentaro's funeral, and the ossuary they had him in looked like a big vase, and they placed him very reverently in a hole in the ground. And so, are you laughing? This is so serious.
Right. The way you said
this is so serious.
Put him in a hole in the ground.
Well, it wasn't a hole in the sky.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. Anyway, not Kentaro. Hiroshi's gone, but you'll see him in flashbacks.
Yeah,
and the conversation we had was,
basically pulled him out of retirement.
When you're making a series like this, and you're the director, don't you do all the flashbacks at the beginning so as you kill off characters, you don't have to hire them back again?
No, they're just basically they pulled him out of retirement. They're like, you're not done shooting.
He might have gone on to another job by now. The next...
Well, they stole him out of the job. They say, you're not done yet filming this.
What kind of job do you think he was fit for after being in Monarch? Sometimes you get so role cast against Titans and with these family situations, because he was a family man, and you have all this happening.
Oh, yeah,
so you're typecast.
Yeah,
how do you get out of this?
Yeah, he was...
he'll never be Batman now or Superman.
Surely a
Wait
family
a minute, that's
man.
these... he'll never be a defender. He'll never be...
okay. He was surely a family man, because there was one word that went along with the whole correlation.
No, we're not going to use that word on this podcast.
You could probably
what we're going to say is he loved his family.
Yes. The word starts with a C.
No.
H. Ends with an ER.
Yeah. Not going there with you.
You can infer what we're talking about. I'll just give you, starts with a CH, ends with an ER. We won't say the word, but it has a whole correlation with this.
He was a cheerleader. Get it out there.
No, that's not the word we're looking for.
CHER. Cheer.
No, that has a T in there. It has a T in that word as well. But yeah, it correlates with wild voice cry, but it correlates.
A cheerleader.
It correlates.
He was a cheerleader.
Yeah, you know exactly what we're talking about with this whole episode.
Get away from it.
Now,
this is about Titans, folks. This is not about soap opera, about multiple family dramas. This is not a soap. Let's get over this.
At the very end of this episode, we see Lee Shaw and Dr. Forgot his name again. What's his the doctor again that he ends up meeting?
Yamamoto.
No, Zarazuki.
If you know his name, say
Dr.
it.
Zarazuki.
Suzuki. Just like the two-cycle motorcycle engines of yesteryear.
Okay, so they end up going back to the spot where Lee Shaw was eventually rescued 20 years out of the Axis Monday. They end up activating the machine, and it goes off for a good matter of a minute. They end up getting what they want, but they thought they got in contact with Godzilla, but it wasn't that. They ended up getting in contact with, through the walkie-talkie that they had. They thought it was a time, but it wasn't. It was Lee Shaw 20 years ago.
Or longer ago.
Yeah, it could be longer.
Because the Lee Shaw now has been out of there since 82.
Yeah, so
Lee Shaw of 70 years ago.
Yeah, so he got in contact with his younger self, and that's where the episode ends off. So we'll see what happens with that. So if they want to mess with the time and they bring him out and they both meet each other, I don't know if that will happen, but
I will tell you this about the time-space continuum. I'm convinced of this. If you hear yourself from the past talking to yourself in the future, the distortion in the time-space continuum made me enough to melt your eardrums.
That was really weird. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I wasn't either. I was shocked and I was shaken up. And if he pull him out of the rift, and they're there,
that's what
one
I'm saying.
person can't occupy the same space at the same time.
I mean,
so
you kinda
will he
can.
have two bodies?
He's from a different time. You pull him out of that time, like, yes, you can come.
Well, he'll come into this time when he comes across.
Okay, yeah. We've seen that with a lot of time travel movies.
I've
You
never
saw that with Avengers Endgame. They went back in time. They were there.
Did they see themselves?
Yep, they sure did.
Did they meet on the street?
Yeah, and guess what?
Did they exchange phone numbers?
Tony Stark met his dad, hugged his dad.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Are you sure that wasn't another one of those dreams?
No, it
One of the
wasn't.
great things about a dream, if
And
you're a
it could
movie
have
producer,
correlation with
you don't have to
Doomsday.
pay a lot of actors. You just dream it up.
No, that is not true. And it could have correlation with Doomsday. That's a whole different topic for another day. But, so that's basically all what happened in this episode. But now there's one last thing I do want to say. And a lot of people online and social media can agree with me on this.
Please say it.
The director said they heard them talking about what the people wanted different in season 2 than season 1.
Who are the people?
And the critics and all the fans, the people watching this all over the world, they said that season 1 was mainly focused on the human aspect and not very much on the Titans, which is very true. We only saw the Titans in episode 10 for a matter of 10 minutes. And I will say, they said for season 2, it's going to be more time focused and less human focused. And I will say that is not the case in this. It has been really mainly human focused, and the timing of this and the progression of this season has been really, really slow. Very slow.
I'd like to say this. When you see a Titan or you visualize or you watch a Titan interaction, it is so emotionally absorbing. It is such a strong memory that it erases all the other stuff. So don't feel bad about all the time they're spending with character development. Without character development, this would just be another cheap B-grade movie or B-grade series.
No.
Because they have a series.
No, because they lied.
They have the luxury.
No, they lied. They said this was going to be more time focused, more fast paced, and less human focused. They directors misled.
They still have 4 episodes at least.
And what's going to happen next one?
We don't know.
Probably not any time action. Probably what we saw.
We don't know.
The whole series of
5 minutes of time.
The whole season 2, we've probably seen a span of like 15, 20 minutes of time action.
If you call
that is it, of a span of total of 6 hours, 6 episodes. That's it.
Let me tell you this.
No,
one thing I have to say.
That's not what the people want to see.
As the chief researcher at the Titan Research Center, I have come to understand that when you book a Titan, their agent is demanding of immense, huge fees.
No, okay.
That is why Legendary could not afford more time with Titan X and with Godzilla.
That is
and with Kong. Kong's agent will hardly ever talk to you.
That is completely false. That is wrong.
If Kong even growls,
wrong. No,
I can't help it if the agents
straight CGI.
I can't help it if they're overpriced. It is wrong.
CGI. That is completely made up and false. That is just an excuse. They say it would be more time focused, and it's not been. It's been more human focused. I understand you need that. No. If they literally span this to only episode 9 and 10, that's great. The people want to see Titans. We have not seen that enough. So that's been my critique. And we better see
how many people on Earth? Like 10 billion? So there's only
8 billion.
So there's only 8 of us on Earth that believe this, and probably only 4 of us have seen the episode.
That's not true, but whatever. No, that is my take.
Probably 3 of them didn't understand what they were looking at.
That is
so my
take.
opinion matters.
No, that is my take. And I say if they're going to make a season 3, the director said this was going to be this is too slow. They're dragging this out.
I may not win my argument on this.
You are losing.
But just watch me pout.
Okay, whatever. But that is my take. So that is our reaction to episode 6. And it feels like they are dragging this out too much.
And if you like
it needs to be more Titan focused.
And if you like our new director's chairs, please,
if
please
you do
let
like
us know.
Yes, this is brand new kind of a setup a little bit, but that has been our reaction to episode 6. And of
We
course,
got these out of Hiroshi's San Francisco office.
yeah, we traveled all over the country and the world to get these. So, but
10 times around the globe.
yes, just like Lee Shaw said. But that's been today's episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You got anything else? No, you don't? Okay, we're going to end this off here. Thank you so much for watching. We will see y'all next time.